I asked some of you guys to start it yesterday, or ask everybody to start it. Try to do as much as they can. All right? And let's talk about it right now. All right? We're just going to try to go through as much as we can. What we don't finish, I'll finish in the other class, but I have a feeling we're good enough to get through this, especially if everybody takes out the calculator. Now, again, what I'm asking you to do is to write the information down, not just give me an answer. All right? So in this case, it says which fraction represents roosters to chickens. So we would just say what? 5 over 15, which reduces to what? 1/3, and then we go B. That's what I want on your paper. Girls, you with me in the back? All right, come on now. Stay with me now. It's an important day. I want everybody to have A's tomorrow. Which fraction represents 2 quarts? Now remember, I talked to you about, you should know how many quarts in a gallon. How many quarts in a gallon? 4. So if you have 1 gallon, you have what? 4 quarts, right? So then it reduces, thank you, to 1/2. So there you go, C. Now, this is the one some people had trouble with yesterday, so please watch. 7 pounds for 10.78. Now, when you have a unit price, it's how much for 1. So now look, here's how kids forgot, what do I divide? All right, I want 1, correct? So here's what I said. To me, this is how I remembered. I divided by 7. And if I divide that by 7, I have to do what? Divide that by 7. Is everybody okay with that? All right. And now, 10 divided by 7, right? We know it can't be C or D. All right. So now, let's do the mental math, because I said, although you can use a calculator, pay attention now, because now I'm trying to make you smarter as far as your mental math goes. Everybody needs to look up. All right, not a calculator time. So you say 10 goes into 7 how many times? 1. Then comes the decimal. Then there's 3 left over. So I put a 3 next to the 7. Now 7 goes into 37 how many times? 5 times. 5 times 7 is 35. So how many is left over? 2. So 7 goes into 28, right? How many? 4 times. Now he's right saying I didn't really have to go any further because it was either 1.1 or 1.5. So on a standardized test, you would stop there and just say the answer is 1.5. But we just went ahead and practiced the what? The mental math. All right? So everybody knows the answer is what? B. All right? Now, which rate has the same as 200 jumps in 5 minutes? Well, if you do 200 jumps in 5 minutes, that means you do what? 40 jumps in what? 1 minute. So now, which one of those is the same? Well, it's not 120 in 1. It is B. Because if you go 240 divided by 6, right, you would get what? 40 jumps in a minute. Or he's correct. You just added another minute, so you just added another 40 jumps. Lots of good information there. All right? Now, we are not going to convert miles per hour to kilometers per hour, so I said we could wipe out number 5. And I'm not expecting you to know units, feet, and meters, so we could do what? Get rid of that. All right? The answer for 6 was definitely A.
Yes.
Right? And the reason we know it's A is because a meter is about the same as a yard, correct? So it's 3 meters in or 3 feet in a yard. So if you have 7 feet, you have about 2, right, yards, 2 1/3 yards. So it's got to be somewhere around 2. All right, that was the correct answer. All right, but am I asking you to know that tomorrow? No. All right, I'm proud of some of you guys who knew that, though. A meter and a yard are almost the same. All right, a meter and a yard are almost the same. All right, so let's take a look at 7. The cost of 6 tacos is $13.20. If the cost is proportional to the number of tacos ordered, which of the following price is not equivalent? So if you have 6 tacos to $13.20, I would want you to divide that out and tell me that 1 taco costs what?
$13 or $13.
No, 1 taco.
Oh.
All right, 1 taco I'd have to divide by 6. All right, now again, eyes up. We're going $13.20 and I'm dividing it by 6. So 6 goes into 12 what? 6 goes into 12 twice. Decimal with a 1 left over. So 6 now goes into 12 what?
Twice.
Twice. So it's what?
$2.
$2.20 for every taco. Everybody with me on that? So how much would 2 tacos cost? 2 times 220, which is what? 440, right? So this is okay. That's not the right answer.
What?
What's the matter?
It's not the equivalent. Oh.
Yes.
It's wait. Can I say?
Tell me the answer.
It's D because
Yep.
2.2 times 3
Is definitely not 6.2.
Yeah, 6.6.
It's 6.6. And guys, everybody understand that's what I'm talking about, your mental math for your calculator. You don't need a calculator for that. Everybody hear me?
Can I get it?
All right. Just we'll wait till we get what?
But I'm confused. How is it not?
Well, because you want the 1, because you didn't read the directions.
It's not. Oh.
You with me on that?
Yeah.
Because if you do 8 times 220, that's also 1760.
Okay.
And 9 times 220, that's also 1980. You with me on that? All right, so again, all you guys should highlight not. All right, make sure you highlight not. You want the one that's not equivalent. All right, Jane rode her scooter for 1/3 of an hour. So I put 1/3 of an hour. And she traveled what? 2 1/6 of a kilometer. Right? I want to know what is her speed in kilometers per hour. Right? So the best way is, again, this is right here, guys. Listen to me. This right here is 1/3 of a what? 1/3 of an hour, right? So what would be a good way to do this? Tell me. Yes, you can divide by what? Yes, very smart. Divide by 1/3. Now, this is a problem I think you would do nicely on a calculator. Right, so it was definitely 6.5 kilometers per hour. Right, definitely 6.5. So practice on your calculator right now. Practice on your calculator. Make sure everybody types in 2 ABC1 ABC6 divided by 1 ABC3. Did you check that on your calculator, guys? Check that on your calculator. 6 and what? Yep, 6.5. That's what we said. All right.
Six and a half.
Okay. All right. Number 9. Thomas used a scale of 1 inches to 6 feet. Everybody should get this one. The deck is the model, the deck in the model has a length of 8 inches. What's the actual length of the?
48 feet.
All right, that was pretty easy, right? So, may I have any questions with that? 48 feet. That's our scale drawing. Very good. Now, here we go here. These are similar figures, which means the angles are equal. So what is the measure of angle G? Let's look at that right off the bat. What's angle G? No, 53, right? How do I know it's 53 degrees? Because angle B is 53, so G would have to be 53. All right, that's what it means when they're similar. The angles are equal, and the sides are proportional. All right, so now let's look at question number 10. It says, is H congruent to C? All right, is H congruent to C? And the answer is what?
Yes.
Yes, but we're still looking for one that's not true. Does AC, now look at the picture up here, guys. Does AC correspond to FH? And the answer would be what? Yes. Very good. Does BC, so I'm going to do BC now. BC would correspond to GF, true or false?
False.
That's the false. Very good. That answer is C. All right. Everybody good with that?
Definitely.
All right. Now, what is the measure of angle H? That symbol means what?
Right angle. So it's
Right
90
angle, that's correct. That means a right angle, which is 90 degrees. All right, is everybody good with that? Girls in the back, y'all, I want you speaking up now if you're not sure. All right, let's look at number 12. All right. Now, 6 cups to 4 quarts. Uh-oh, we have a little problem here. Because we got to go to quarts to what first? Pints, right? You see what I'm saying? There. So, if I have 4 quarts, listen to me, 6 cups to 4 quarts, but 4 quarts is how many pints? How many pints in a quart? No? 2. Who said 2? Yeah, that's correct. So that's going to give you 2 times 4, which is 8 pints. Is everybody good with that?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you have 8 pints, how many cups in a pint? 2, right? So if you have 8 pints, that means you're going to have what? Say it.
6 pints.
How many pints? How many cups in a pint? We just said 2. So now look. 1 pint has 2 cups. Shh. If I have 1 pint, I have 2 cups. If I have 8 pints, then how many cups will I have? Shh.
You have 16 cups.
That's what you're thinking. Stop just saying things. All right, 6 cups is to 16 pints. I'm sorry, 16 cups. Is everybody happy with that so far? And then we just look at the fraction. 6 over 16 reduces to what? You okay with that? Do I have any questions? All right, that's not too bad. All right, now put a little star by this one. All right, because you got to go from quarts to what? Pints, and then from pints to what? Pints
And
to
then cups.
cups. Pints to cups. All right, here we go. 13. At the same time, a 5-foot girl casts a 4-foot shadow. So we're going to set it up like we did yesterday. So it'd be 5 foot high, right? Cast a what? 4-foot shadow. And that's how I'd like you to set it up. Equals. Now it says a nearby stop sign casts a what?
8-foot shadow.
So where would they? That would go on the bottom. And then very good. X would be on the top. Now this is something I would expect you to just look at and tell me the answer. So it would just be what? 10. Right? Well, we would say 10 what?
Feet.
10 feet. All right, 10 feet.
Happy feet.
All right. Next, it says a train travels 423 miles every 9 hours.
You just have to divide.
47.
Just divide by what?
So easy.
9.
Right.
47.
So again, we're going to say 423, and we're going to divide it by 9, and that becomes what?
45.
47 miles per hour. 47 miles per hour. All right. Anybody have any questions so far? Boys in the back? You checking your work as we're going, right? Okay. All right.
I
Now,
know this.
again, remember, this is 1/2 divided by 1/6. Everybody write that down. 1/2 divided by 1/6. And how do I undo division? We say you multiply by the reciprocal. So I want you to say 1/2 times 6 over 1. And we know half of 6 is what?
3.
We know half of 6 is 3. Now, if you wanted to, you could type that on the calculator. But again, I don't want you to do that. I want you to know how to do it. Right, then you check your calculator. Check it with your calculator. All right, is everybody good so far? All right. Now it says, which price has the same unit price as 3 cans for $1.98? So if I have 3 cans for $1.98, that means each can would be what? We'd have to divide by 3, divide by 3. So 1 can is equal to 66 cents. All right? So how much would 2 cans be? $1.32. And it says, which has the same unit price, so it would have to be A. Everybody feeling all right about that? All right. Now, if you wanted to, you could have just divided all of them also. Does everybody agree with that? You could just say $1.32 divided by 2, $5.90 divided by 5, 4 divided by 6, and $3.60 divided by 4. Is everybody agreeing with me on that? Everybody all right? Okay, good. Number 17. If it costs $50 to rent a kayak for 4 hours, if the cost is proportional to the number of hours rented, which of the following is not an equivalent? It's the same thing. If it costs you $50 for 4 hours, how much is it going to cost you per hour? Yes, because we would say 50 divided by 4, which is $12.50 per hour. Come on now, we're doing very similar things here. $12.50 per hour. Right? So now we want to know which one is not equivalent. So the quickest way to do this would just be to divide A. What's 25 divided by 2? Help me out, guys. What's 25 divided by 12.5? What's 3750 divided by 3? Right, 12.5, right? Same thing with 60 divided by 5. What's 60 divided by 5? 12. So that's probably the answer, right? But what I want to do is just to verify, I'm going to do 75 divided by 6. That's 12.5. All right, does everybody see? Now what I'm trying to show you is you got to read carefully, right? Because it doesn't say which one is equal. It says which one is not equivalent. Which one is not equivalent. Everybody good with that? All right, number 18. Now again, we're going to cross multiply. So on your paper here, I want you to write 2y equals, and what's 4 times 1.3? 5.2. Then you divide by 2. 2.6. Here we go. Everybody all right with that? All right, here we go. Now it says, a soup recipe calls 2 pounds for 25 servings. So on my paper, I write 2 pounds over 25 servings. It's a proportion again. 2 pounds plus 25 servings. The next one, it says how many pounds of rice if I have 30 servings. So 30 goes on the bottom and X goes on the top. Now when I cross multiply, I get 25x is equal to what? 60. Divide by 25.
2.4.
So 2.4. All right? 2.4 is good. All right, here we go. 1 inch is equal to 2 feet. So 3 inches would be what?
3 inches would be 6 feet.
Yeah, nothing to that. That was easy. All right. Now, here we have to read the charts carefully, please. Read the charts carefully. It says, the table shows the heart rates and masses of different animals. You're up here. Expression ratio of the car's heart rate. So the cow's heart rate, I'm circling that. And the hamster's heart rate. The hamster is what?
450.
450. All right.
60 minutes.
What is that?
Hamster's heart rate.
So then it would be 11 over 75.
11 over 75. Thank you. Because she divided by 6. And she double checked that with her calculator. All right. Any issues? Anybody have any issues? All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
What?
So when will you put 66 over
450. And just hit equal.
Oh, you just simplify it? Okay.
All right. Number 22. the ratio of the mass of the cat, all right, and the mass of the cat is 2,000, to the mass of the cow. The cow is 800,000, all right? So be careful when you're doing this. Cross out 3 zeros, right? So now that's 2 over 800, but we can reduce that to 1 over what? 400. All right? So in other words, the cow is 400 times the mass of the cat. All right, moving right along, 23. A 4-gallon jug of milk costs $5.60. At what price would a half a gallon? Well, here's how I looked at this. If I had 4 gallons for $5.60, then 1 gallon would equal what, guys? Somebody tell me what 1 gallon would equal.
It would equal $1.
$1.40. Right? Because you did 560 divided by 4, right? But the problem is that's for 1 gallon, we need a what? Divide by 2, because we need a half a gallon. So a half a gallon would equal what?
70 cents.
70 cents. All right. Anybody have any issues? All right. So now let's talk about the triangles again. All right. MP. All right. Now what? They kind of made a mistake on this one because they have this right here, guys. See what I'm saying? Look at, guys. Don't confuse yourself. All right. That I just want to eliminate. All right. I'm going to highlight.
LJ, right?
Yeah. Those should be. That should not be there.
It should be JL.
You just convert it to white. So I did. Change your color to white. Draw over.
And then you make it the really thin.
And then you make it thicker, right? All right. So now let's take a look at this now. It says which segment corresponds to MP. MP is between 2 and 3 lines, so that would have to be the JL.
Yes.
All right, or LJ, which is A. All right, everybody good with that? All right, let's take a look at 25. Angle M would be congruent to angle what?
J.
J. Good job, guys. All right, 16. I'm sorry, 26. It says Kyle began working on a computer program after 7/5 hours. He had completed 20 and 1/10 lines of code. What is the unit rate? So again, we want it for 1 hour. We don't want it for 7 1/5. So here's where I'm encouraging you. So write this down. 7 1/5 hours is 20 and 1/10 lines, correct? I want it for 1 hour, right? So if I want it for 1 hour, I should divide by 7 1/5. Divide by 7 1/5. Now this is a problem where you could use your what? Calculator. So everybody type in 20 and 1/10 divided by 7 1/5. All right? And what does that come out to be, somebody?
2 and 19/24.
Anybody else agree with that? Lines per hour. 2 and 19/24 lines per hour. You guys okay? Anybody have any questions yet? All right, moving right along. All right, Joel works and makes $36,920 per year. What does he make per week? Wait a minute. He makes that per year. So how much does he make per week?
Oh, you divide it by 52.
Yes, you divide by 52. All right, so again, this would be a good one to use your calculator on. So type in.
710.
So he makes $710 per week. Now, I want it written out like that also. I don't just want down 710. I want the fact that he would make $710 per week. All right?
It's not.
We're not, I don't, it could be somebody that's going to school, or it could be a part-time job. All right? Now, here we go. It says, at the same time, a 15-foot pole casts a 7.5 shadow. So 15 feet is to 7.5 shadow. Now I like to write shadow down so I don't make a mistake where it goes. The next one says a nearby tree casts a 24-foot shadow.
So it's on the bottom.
So 24 would be on the bottom. That is correct. And X would be on the top. All right. Now when we cross multiply, we end up with 7.5x equals 15 times 24 is 360.
Divided by 7.45.
And
48.
is that right? 48?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still with them. Oh, yeah.
It's
It's
now.
48.
All right. So X equals 48.
That
Oh,
was
stop talking. That's why you're up here. All right, 29. 9 rolls for 1440.
Just divide.
Just divide again. 1440
Divided by 9.
divided by 9.
1.6.
So 1 roll, nope.
$1.60.
Yes. $1.60. All right, $1.60. Girls, everybody okay? No one's saying much here, guys. I agree with you. I think it's pretty easy. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
It's the
All right, so I want A's starting out tomorrow. All right, now 430, here we go. Again, you're making a proportion. So 3 out of 105 is equal to, now how do I set it up?
3 over 105 equals 7 over x.
That's exactly correct.
And then you do
Cross.
7 times 105.
All right, so 3x is equal to,
And then 7 times 105 is 735.
and then,
And then you divide by 3.
right, so x is
245.
245. Now 245 what?
Dollars.
Dollars. All right, because 3 represents the ounces, 105 represents the dollars. Yes, ma'am, tell me.
So when we have like a
That's okay.
proportion like this on the test, and do you want us to go through like all the steps like here,
That's
or
right.
you count off?
It's not that I'm going to count off. If you get it wrong, I can't help you. You know what I mean? Because there's a fine line between using your calculator, right, and like, I don't want you to do something so easy and use a calculator. You with me? On the proportions, guys, I've said it. I want you to set it up for me. Right? I'm doing all this work. Right? I'm not using a calculator. I want you to do the work. All right? That way, if there's a problem, I could say, well, you just made a careless mistake, but you knew what you were doing. All right? If you make a mistake and there's nothing there to verify your results, I have to mark the whole thing wrong. All right? So please write out the work. Write out the work. All right? Here we go. Number 31. It says Ryan is building a model. 2 inches is to 5 meters. So look what I'm doing. 2 inches over 5 meters. Now it says that he has a building 95 meters high. So it's at the bottom. Right? So we're going to put 95 on the bottom and X. Right? Then we cross multiply.
38.
5x is equal to, so x, how much? What is it?
138.
All right. 38 what?
Meters.
What?
Inches.
Look, if you don't put the units down, you get a point off. Number 1. If you put the wrong units in, it's -2 probably. All right? Just kidding. All right? Listen, put the units in and verify what units you're talking about. That's why I like to write it. The top goes with the top, bottom goes with bottom. Put the units in so you can tell what the answer is. All right? Now, they got it right this time. ABC is similar to FGH. Notice that's the symbol for similar. All right? So what is X? Now, hold on a second. I want to just verify this real quick. You're okay, though. All right? AB. AB corresponds to what, guys? To FG. Look up and see what I did. Look up. AB corresponds to what? FG. So what is AB? 28. And what's FG?
FG is
What is FG? Stop saying something. Look at the figure and tell me what FG is. Somebody. What is FG? You have to look at the figure to tell me.
23.
No.
30.
Who said that? Yes, good, Julia. It's X. Come on, stop saying things now. I asked you to tell me what FG is, and you're just saying things. Instead of taking a second, look at the figure. There's FG, right, Julia? There's nothing to that. Just put down X. All right? So 28 over X. Now, we have BC, which is what? 20. What does BC correspond to, guys? What side? GH. Thank you. And GH is what? 15. Beautiful. That's how you do that, guys. That's kind of tricky now. So I'm asking you to double check yourself on that. Make sure you know what you're doing. All right? Now, cross multiply.
You get 420. And then divide it by 20. You get
Good job, buddy.
210.
X equals, tell him. No.
Oh no, I got it.
What did you get? Why did you say 210? Because he did. And you automatically thought you were wrong. So you just changed it to his answer. That's what I'm saying. Do your own work. Be proud. You got it right. Don't listen to somebody else. Do your own work. Ignore what other people say. If you do your own work, you get smarter. Don't listen to other people. Come on, Julian. All right. Now, it says measure of angle A is 50. So I'm putting 50 next to angle A. And then angle B, it's 45. So I put 45. They want to know what is H. Well, I look at my figure up here. What corresponds to H?
C.
C.
Oh, of course.
Right? C does. Uh-oh. Well, I don't have what C is. Can anybody tell me how to figure out what C is? What are the angles of a triangle add up to?
180.
180. You learned that last year. The angles of a triangle add up to 180. Do you agree?
Yes.
Right? So, tell me what angle C is. Wait a minute. What's 50 plus 45? There you go. That's all right. Don't be sorry. Go. There you go. That's good. So angle C is 85. Right? And if angle C is 85, then H would have to be what? 85. All right. Well, because remember, from last year, you know the angles of a triangle add up to 180.
Yeah, 180.
So if you take 50 plus 45 and subtract that from 180. Okay? All right, here we go. Number 34. At the same time, a 12-foot pole casts an 18-foot shadow. So 12 represents the height. 18 represents the what? The shadow. See, the same thing. You just repeated things he said. You know it was a shadow. All right, equals. Now, the next one, 30-foot shadow. Where does that go?
On
On the bottom. 30-foot shadow goes on the bottom. X goes on the top. So let's cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we get
30.
right. So 18x is equal to 360. So what is x equal?
20.
Yes. 20 what?
20 feet.
Feet. 20 feet. Nice. Right? Now look here, guys. If a ½ inch is equal to 4 feet, then what else is true? 1 inch is how much? What?
8 feet.
That's what I'm saying. He said something, you just repeated. Come on, you already knew. Half a foot is 4 inches, so 1 foot is? You know that. So you're just hearing things. No one's impressed, especially when somebody says something completely wrong, and you say it's completely wrong. Come on, you know that you keep talking. That's what we're going to have a conference about. So 1 inch is equal to what? 8 feet. All right? So if you have 3.2 inches, how much feet does that represent? What would I have to do?
3.2 times.
Nope. 3.2 times what? Times 8. Right? Now, if you weren't sure about that, look how you could do it. You could say 1 inch over 8 feet is equal to 3.2 inches over x. Does everybody see that? That's right. So 25.6 what, though?
6 inch.
Feet. Now, how did I know it was feet? Because what's on the bottom? Feet's on the bottom. All right? I'm okay with that. Now, 36. I want you to write down what 36 means. 36 means 6/9 divided by 2.
So it's times 1 over 2.
That's right. That's how I want you to write it down. Not just the calculator. I want you to say 6/9 times 1/2. Because division changed to multiplication, you take the reciprocal. Now, can anybody reduce 6/9?
1/3.
6/9 reduces to what?
1/3.
I don't think so.
2/3.
2/3, right?
No,
So 2/3 times 1/2. Now, I'm not arguing with you. You weren't answering my question.
Oh.
The answer is 1/3. All right, the answer is 1/3. But I was going through the simplifying the fractions. You okay with that, Julia? Sure? Okay. All right, 37. All right, 37. Which of the following is least to greatest? So which one's obviously, come on guys, I know we have a minute. Let's sit here so we can get these last problems done. And you'll have everything done. All right, come on now. Which one's obviously the smallest?
20.
Hey, 0.03. So I know it's not this one, or this one. Then 1/4 is the same as what decimal?
0.25.
0.25. So now which one is the next one?
0.2.
0.2. Right, so the answer was G. So the answer was G. Come on, stay with me, Julia. Sit down. When the bell rings, we're not even going to leave. All right, we're going to finish. All right, here we go. Now, sit down. All right, listen, guys. I want you to make sure now that you go through these last 4. These are like the ERB questions. They're the important ones. All right, take a look at it. All right, and I'll finish them up in the other class, and then look at it tonight and make sure you got the right answer. Good job, guys, for the most part.
I'm gonna look up